Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad. Today is Tuesday, November 29th. Welcome, everybody. I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'll go ahead and just get right into it. I'm supposed to be in Miami, sunny Florida, basking in the rays, going to DecentralCon. So I packed, cars packed, got my car warmed up, engines running. I'm about to go to the airport. The map app is open on my phone. This is how close I am. I have two things to do. I got to grab my earbuds. I got to lock my basement door. And I heard water. And I heard squishing and splashing. And I looked down. My basement had flooded. A 40-gallon water heater burst Sunday night, Monday morning. I don't know when. I was down there Sunday evening. Burst overnight while I was sleeping. Water was covered all over my basement floor. So I ended up having to take care of that. And then I said, you know what? Do I want to go to Decentral for half of one day of a conference? I said, no, I'm coming to work. I'm coming to the BitSquad. I'm coming to bring you the news that you need because there's been so much stuff going on. I don't need another day off because I eat, sleep, breathe crypto. In fact, I even sleep in my ape gear. Okay, that's how serious I am about it. But yeah, everything was handled. I got fans blowing. I vacuumed out all the water. Shout out to Tony. Tony helped me out. Tony Reed, not Frank's Tony. That's a different Tony. That's Tony. That's a different guy. But yeah, so that's how my week. I just wanted to share that. Yeah, it's I do have a basement. No, it's not like a scary. It's not a Balenciaga ad basement. God. It's not that kind of basement. Okay, it's just like got a washer dryer and a water heater down there. That was all. All right, let's get right into it. NFT Alpha. If you're not subbed to that, make sure you're subbed to that. We're putting out a lot of great content. We're almost at 21,000 followers. Make sure you're following me. Took a little bit of time off. Apparently, there's like a lot of bots out there, people losing accounts. Hey, what's your favorite sport, BitSquad? Is it, let's just go through the pictures here. You know, oh, wait, we got to zoom in. We got the iconic Michael Jordan photo. Gotta love MJ. Then we have the iconic Randy Johnson, the big unit. You know, he threw a fastball. Then we have the catch. And then we have soccer, and everyone loves soccer. Everyone keeps talking about World Cup. I don't see the appeal. TJ, what is your, are you watching the World Cup right now?
No, I'm really not watching the World. Nothing against it if you're into it, but it's, to me, like the big games and the finals and stuff I can get into, but a lot of these round robins and stuff, my favorite thing, and was what Gainesy, he was calling it draw ball, where it's just like that's all you do is you watch a tie game.
Actually, watching his or reading his content on soccer betting has been like my favorite whole thing of the World Cup is Gainesy talking about betting. And just how big of a scam it is. Like, wait a minute, it ends in a tie and no one gets paid? Like, what is this? Oh, man. What is my butler's name? No, it is not that nice. All right, let's get into, if you're at BitBoy Crypto, we do have the book coming out, Catching Up to Crypto. You're going to want to make sure you have that pre-ordered on Amazon. Yesterday was Cyber Monday, but you know what? This is the gift that keeps giving because it's knowledge. And so it doesn't have to be Cyber Monday. It's BitSquad Tuesday. So make sure you go ahead and pre-order that. I think big things. It's going to be awesome with all the stuff going on with the New York Times, with Sam Bankman being able to speak there. And then with Ben and Sam, and then the fact that Ben has a chance to landing at the top of the New York Times best-selling list. Let's make that happen. I think that's just it's a wonderful ending to a Christmas movie almost. So I think there's a possibility we can make that happen. You got to pre-order though. Make sure you're pre-ordered. We go to Coin Market Cap. Let's get right into what's happening with the markets. Watching yesterday, we were down a little bit. You know what? Now we've reversed a little. We're still in that $16,000 range. Not looking great. The total market cap, 832 billion, not looking great. Bitcoin dominance continuing to fall. I don't know what Ben Cowan is thinking, but I know he's ready for that reversal. We're down to 37.9%. Ethereum down to 17.8. Gas 19 Gwei. Look at some of the other top coins here. We have Ethereum up slightly, BNB up. A lot of the people just reversing their losses from yesterday. Doge. And you know what? It's kind of going in lockstep. Doge lost, I think it was yesterday's episode was down 9%. Now we're up 8.5%. So a lot of just reversal of what has happened over the past 24 hours. Litecoin still having its moment in the sun here, up 8% on the week. Let's look at the top losers and gainers, though. All right, we're going to start with the gainers. Huby, those top yesterday as well. Chainlink. I guess news of that the staking is coming out. Yes, I'm going to stake my 7 Chainlink. I can't wait. Dash, Thorchain, then Aptos, Mutable X.
Interesting.
Look at that. Yes, some of these FTX Sam Bankman-Fried tokens, maybe I'm not saying that was the bottom, but there's a lot of selling pressure over the past 30 days. Maybe there's just some gains to be had, if you watch those markets closely.
Yeah, Aptos is one I've definitely got my eye on for next bull. Looking at keep an eye on it this year, see what happens with it, accumulate it if I think there's some good opportunities. But I could see it being a big one in 24 and 25.
Unfortunately, I see the same. I know there's a lot of people who I follow that I respect that really care about decentralization on Twitter. Cardano Whale, for instance, they get a lot of criticism for them for their centralized nature and their VC structure. But we're kind of reading between the lines, like, what is that going to mean for the user? Does it mean some good things and some good applications are going to be built? Yeah, because there's going to be money into it. And I'm not saying, that's a fantastic thing, but there are going to be real protocols with real world utility here. And I think that's what crypto needs to get to that next level. It's great to have all these tenets of, why we're here. But at the end of the day, you got to ship product. And I think, TJ probably agrees, they're probably going to be well positioned to ship product.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's this crypto is about decentralization and moving in that direction, but there's always going to be a place for applications that need high throughput, and centralization
Yes.
can help it. It doesn't have to be a financial product. It can be a game. It can be a lot of different things. So yeah, Sui and Aptos both came out of that Diem project and forked from that, and which was the previously Facebook Meta people. So the programming language is mostly what has my attention on it to keep an eye on, because a lot of developers tend to like move the programming language.
I think, a good summation of what you're saying there is not every crypto has to be a private peer-to-peer payment system. There's other technologies that can be unlocked with blockchain technology and immutable ledgers. And games, I think, is going to be one of the top applications.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a great chain for something like that, more so than what my favorite chain might be.
Yeah, I agree. And well, and a good way to think about it is like if we're talking about a new infrastructure for the internet, it's like the sentiment, everything on the internet should be free. Agree with the, like that's great sentiment. It is the ethos of what the internet is, free information. You don't have to pay to get it. That being said, some premium websites have a place within the ecosystem to have some permissions, to have some paid walls and all that sort of stuff. And they can both exist in tandem and serve the market. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see with blockchain.
It's not or, it's and.
It's and.
Someone said, you guys are here for the money. That's what brings us here, but you don't stay during multi-year bear markets if you're still here for the money.
Right.
I think we're proving that now that we're past a year of that Bitcoin all-time high. It's been a painful 12 months, and you know what? I'm going to be here. If it keeps going down for 12 months, I'll still be here.
Well, it's even
I'll
harder.
be a little skinnier and probably more gray hair, higher forehead at that point, but I'll still be here, dang it.
Right. We're not going anywhere. And what'll really shake people out is if we have another 12 months at 16 where the price literally doesn't move. That's the most boring, that's what shakes more people out than anything. Somebody said the boring capitulation, and it's real.
Yeah, that's a real thing. The drop from 20 to 16 got more people involved, probably in a weird way. It got more people talking about it at Thanksgiving dinner. If it was just flat, to TJ's point, it just would have been pass me the gravy, and it would have stopped. It would have, instead of pass me the gravy, nephew, and heard that Bitcoin's a scam, So then it leads to conversations on why it isn't a scam, or maybe some coins are. I don't know, probably most.
Right.
Hold on. We're looking right here, 21,887. Yeah, most are scams. Okay, most are scams. We say that all the time. Just like most NFTs are going to go down, most coins are going to go down. It's those select few, though, that are going to change the world, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right. Here for DZ's Cavs. That's the wrong person. Wrong person. But speaking of Cavs, I think we do have some charts that we're going to look at. See if that's what he was doing right behind the camera this entire time. Are you warmed up? Is the blood flowing? I can feel it.
The blood is flowing, and there are...
The heat was radiating. As soon as he came from around the desk, I could feel the heat from down here.
Yeah, sorry if I'm out of breath, guys. Also, it's a hot debate amongst friends and even Mrs. Candles, wondering if I was the guy in high school that would walk in the hallway like this.
100%. There's no
Even
chance.
TJ thinks so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But then it's like, my immediate answer was, I don't think we had a guy like that in my high school. And then I buried myself at that point. So maybe I was that guy. But hey, I got those juicy calves out of it. So there you go.
Hold on. Is this mic on?
Yeah.
I'm going to confirm with Mac and Cheesy next time I talk to him. Those that don't know, we have secret info on Frank, because Mac and Cheesy's from the same hometown. So I'm going to have him call around because they know some of the same people. We'll find out, Frank. We're going to find out. Was he that guy?
I got to call Mac and Cheesy real quick. But yeah, guys, we got a lot of really good stuff to look at on the charts here. Now, we do, yesterday on my live stream, we were looking for at least a little bit of a short-term bounce, targeting about 16,500, where I was looking for a rejection, which is basically, where we actually turned around to. But let's go ahead and dive in here. And I'm going to break down some levels for you guys. And we'll take a look at some volume. And then we're going to take a look at the SPY, because you guys will know we were looking at that daily bearish divergence that was looking to confirm. And I believe it did as we continue down. So I'll give you some levels on that as well. But let's come on over to the 4-hour. Where's my chart here? Which one is it? There it is. Okay, so basically, these are the levels that I'm watching right now, guys. And also, you want to remember, we do still have our 16-hour confirmed blood diamond. This is a pretty bearish sign. Not saying that it couldn't have already played out, but it is there. This could potentially continue to play out here. So these are the bearish things that I am being cautious around. It's this 16-hour blood diamond, which is confirmed, and then also our 2-week on regular candles. This is why it's important to switch back and forth between regular and Heikin-Ashi candles. But we do have a yellow X printing on the 2-week chart, which would be a pretty bearish sign. So the one good thing, I've been talking about this on my stream, the one thing, this is why you don't want to trade just based off of one thing, because if you go all the way back to the last time that we got one of these yellow X's, it actually, it did bring us down a little bit here, but it wasn't actually too horrible. And also, by the time that yellow X popped up, the bottom was already in. So you just want to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean we're immediate, it doesn't mean we're 100% going to, 10K or, even lower. But you definitely, if this confirms, it could be a very, very bearish
Real
sign.
quick, it's just a little hard to see. After that old yellow X, was that one red candle or is that 0 red candles afterwards?
These are
2-week candles, correct?
Yes, these are
a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. So no, you got on the printing of that candle, that one candle was red, but then that next candle actually printed and swallowed up that red candle as it started this uptrend. So almost, I mean, you could say this was the actual bottom, but that yellow X popped up and the bottom was already in. So you never want to base your trades based off of one thing. But that 2-week yellow X, I am looking at that. If it confirms, it could indicate some bearish action. But the 16 hours, another thing I'm being cautious around, as well as we were looking at yesterday, the daily time frame, printing that red dot. But that is not what was worrying me. What was worrying me is that we are now back in the red with the money flow. These red dots would indicate a move to the downside, but that money flow indicates more of a bearish trend, either forming or incoming. So that money flow crossover on the daily is a pretty bearish sign. VWAP starting to work back up towards the 0 line. But back to what I was saying before, yesterday on the stream, we were looking for, on this 4-hour confirmed green dot, we were looking for a potential short-term bounce to the upside. And that major level we were looking at was right here at about $16,500. Now, it is a point of control. You could see the massive high volume node here. This typically acts as very strong resistance, and we came up and got almost a perfect rejection from there. So as of right now, in the shorter term, I mean, generally, guys, these are the levels I'm watching. The range between about 16,989, let's call it 17K, from about 17K all the way down to about 15,950. This is the range that I am expecting to play around in. I was saying this last week and over the weekend, just saying, we might just kind of range over the weekend. Things might be boring. Everybody wants to pick up or down, but sometimes the answer is just sideways. So I do think we will continue to play around in this range. If we flip this POC to support, I do think we could get a move back up to our value area high, getting closer to that $17,000 mark. We also have a local golden pocket right above this value area high, so it is going to be a pretty strong level of resistance. I will be looking for shorts up here. If you guys are interested in keeping up with what trade setups I'm looking at, you can go ahead and we go live at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Frankie Candles YouTube channel. Definitely come check us out there. But once we break that POC, that's where I would expect to move up to that value area high. And then we do have this 786 fib level coming in at about 17,580. And, so if we break out of this range, that would be a nice place to look for a rejection as well. And in the short term, I do think there is more likely or more probable chance that we do come down. We are having the 4-hour VWAP starting to cool off here. So if we print that red dot on the 4-hour, we also, if you come down to those lower time frames, you could see your money flow on the 12-minute is in the red. We just got that crossover. Your 15-minute is also cleanly working its way to the downside. So if we get that red dot with these lower term time frames having the money flow come into the red, we could get a move to the downside. And that major level that I am watching is that value area low at 15,950. And then you could see as I zoom out a little bit here and let that volume readjust, we do have a high volume node at about 16,200. That should act as some pretty good support as well. And just for fun, let's see if we can get a little confluence here with that high volume node. And look at that, right on that high volume node, guys, there is also a local golden pocket. So if we do continue down with that 4-hour red dot and that money flow coming out on the lower time frames, this would be a decent place to get a bounce. And then just zooming out a little bit more, just to kind of point out, looking at the market structure here, I'm going to go ahead and hide all these lines. You could see we are basically making a higher low here, right? We have a low, a higher low. So as long as we do not come down and break these lows, I do think we could potentially continue up, but watching that 4-hour red dot for a little bit of a cool off. And before I let you guys go, I do want to check in on the SPY. As you guys know, we were looking at this yesterday, I believe on this morning stream. Daily bearish divergence did actually confirm. You can see that with this line here, your higher highs into your resistance. Now, I'm glad this played out because I really do push divergences on my channel. It's one of the things that I really pay attention to. They are right more often than they are wrong. They are not 100%. Don't get it twisted, but they play out a lot. And we've been looking at this divergence for quite a while, right? Before we ever got any red candles here. But when you get these higher highs into resistance, and then you have your lower highs on your momentum waves, which in this particular case is not the clearest, but you have a high, a lower high, a high, and a higher high, and you get that alligator mouth looking shape. That is where you are expecting that showing an imbalance in price, and that is where you're expecting a correction to the downside. And then, yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, looking at that next level of support at about 390, right? So we could potentially come back down to 390. This is where I'm looking for a nice little bounce. And then you see that little moving average on Market Cipher A kind of giving us a little bit of confluence there. And then also just to check the DXY, we did actually get a bullish divergence on the DXY here with our lower lows and our higher lows on Market Cipher B here into support, right? It's important that these divergences are happening at support. So when you get a bullish divergence at support, it is likely you get a bounce. This is, obviously we are printing a green candle here on the daily. Our next level of resistance is right here at about 107. 107, 105, and then our next level above that, if we do get a breakout and it does push to the upside here, the next level I will be watching for some resistance is 108.74. And for anybody who doesn't understand why I'm bringing this up, it's because typically the DXY moves inverse to Bitcoin. So if we do continue to see this bullish divergence on the daily play out, it would make sense for that 4-hour red dot and that money flow coming out on the lower time frames on Bitcoin to bring us down.
Well, what's fascinating is we've got that other Fed raise coming, in December, which would line up perfectly with the DXY. Obviously, when they raise the rates, we get a little bit of a bump almost always on the DXY. So that makes sense that it would pump right into that resistance and then move into next year. So it's pretty amazing how the technicals can line up with the macro extremely well.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I actually tell this story all the time. Actually, one day, DZ, I was in a short, right? I shorted a bearish divergence into key support, similar to what we just looked at on the SPY. I shorted solely based off the technicals, right? Saw the bearish divergence, saw the key resistance, expected it to go down, shorted it. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour later, DZ comes into, in the office. He finds me and he goes, "Did you see the Elon dump?" And this was a while ago. And I was like, "The Elon dump?" And I was like, "Oh, my short must be doing good." And yeah, Elon, I think, tweeted and dumped the market. And it just happened to line up perfectly with that bearish divergence. And I'm like, is Elon Musk seeing the bearish divergence? And he goes, "Okay, and dump it."
Yeah.
It's amazing. One of the reasons I absolutely love TA. But yeah, now you guys know the range that I'm looking at. I am expecting a short-term move to the downside. But as long as we don't break that value area low that we looked at, I do think that we can just kind of continue to range. And then hopefully, if we don't break those lows and we just kind of range here, those higher term time frames with the bullish divergences that we looked at yesterday, hopefully those can start to form and then potentially give us a move to the upside. And if you guys want to stay updated, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Frankie Candles. We go live every single day at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we do TA for 2 hours. So yeah, we're hanging in there, and get in the free Discord as well. Also, hint, there may be another Frankie Candles Discord coming very, very soon, potentially even beginning of next week.
Ooh.
That won't be free for anybody who wants to, take their trading super seriously and get a little bit of the extra secret sauce. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Back to DZ. Bing bong.
Man, I miss living with you where I got that secret sauce for free.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sometimes you just got to move on and then burst water in your basement so you can deal with that. I miss my old place. Why don't I live there anymore? All right, that was good stuff. I'm going to be looking at some of those levels. And I will say this about Frank. I don't have all the time in the world to hang out in his Discord, watch all his live streams. Oftentimes, I'm on the road when he's streaming. I'll listen every now and then. But when I just kind of jump in and ape in on a Frank trade, I do all right. That's all I'm going to say. I have more successes than losses. I'm not saying you should blindly follow any kind of trader, influencer saying, hey, here's levels I like. You should never, ever, ever, ever do that. But when I'm real busy, I like to throw $50 on a trade, $100. Hey, I made $20. It's kind of fun. Anything more than that, I feel like I'm negligent by not paying attention to it. So do a small amount you're comfortable not paying attention to. What am I doing? That's like 14 Chainlink. I should just buy 14 Chainlink. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin shrugs off BlockFi China protests as Bitcoin price holds $16,000. BlockFi, famously Anthony Pompliano's biggest investment. China also going through a lot of protests right now. I don't know how much we should share about that, but that might have reverberations in the global economy. They're talking about shutting things down. There were people who were very upset over something that happened where they barricaded an apartment building, and then it caught on fire, and a lot of people did lose their lives. And so very untypically, they are coming out in the streets in full force in China. And that if they crack down, I don't know who recalls, but in 2020, when they shut down certain sectors, it doesn't affect the global economy immediately. It's a supply chain issue. What you're buying on the shelf tomorrow is probably at the port today. What you're buying on the shelf next month is probably in a shipping lane. So this is going to affect what you're going to buy 2 months from now, 3 months from now. So just keep an eye out on that China situation because they're largely silent with the mainstream media. Any thoughts on the China issue?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. It's definitely something to keep an eye on and to monitor. I think a lot of time, like this story here is kind of saying it shrugged off the FUD. A lot of times it's a lot of misdirection and you don't know what the motivation is, whether it's internally from their end, whether it's externally from our end, there's just a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise.
You can't decipher what is signal and what is noise. Right. I'm mostly bringing it up because they're not talking about it.
Right.
And so that's the main reason I'm bringing it up because a lot of you, this might be the first that you're hearing there's mass protests in China, but it is happening right now. Very alarming video. But again, you don't know what is staged, what is, it's a funny situation. But all right, moving on here. China protests, but the Bitcoin price is holding at 16,000. And Bitcoin also joined Asia stocks in a rebound despite the FTX pressures continuing. So the Chinese stock market did take a hit. Looks like a little recovery is happening now. It held crucial at that $16,000 support on the 29th. As that fallout began, you could see the fallout as it happens right there. And now there's that first candle, but we're past that first capitulation area. Yeah. A recovery nonetheless took the market higher with 16.5 coming into play at the time of writing. This is, just kind of going over some of the charts and, Frank kind of went over a lot of this, but the China was cool ahead of the Fed Powell speech. Meanwhile, they formed the main macro focus on the day with anti-lockdown protests impact on market sentiment, nonetheless seeming to ease. So it's going to be something we have to keep an eye out to see how long this continues. The 30th, though, a main day because we have a speech by Powell. Fed of the Fed Reserve,
which is tomorrow, the 30th. No, I'm just saying it's notable. It's something we've been talking about a lot is the impact of, another major BlockFi filing for Chapter 11. It's a pretty major, bankruptcy. You've got these protests going on other places. Like generally, these are very bad signs that would dump the price. And we went from 16.5 roughly to 16.2, wick down, 16-ish, 16.1 on other exchanges. But it's, and then back to 16.5 the next day. So effectively no impact between today and yesterday on some pretty majorly bearish news, which shows that the bears are getting exhausted. A lot of the people that wanted to sell have sold at this point.
You remind me of something, and it's something Justin Williams said, and it stuck with me since I first heard it probably a year and a half ago. the sign that, a bad sign in the crypto market is, it's a bear market and good news doesn't impact the price.
Right.
Oh my God, Google did something major with crypto. Nah, it's a whimper. Apple's doing, nothing happens. I'm going to flip that though. And I've never heard anyone say this. I'm sure many of y'all probably have this exact same thought. Maybe a sign of a bull market is bad news doesn't push it down. And right now, this could be, I'm not saying we're in a bull market, hey, it's over. But I will say this, after the peak in 2017, it was a 12-month bleed. And then after that, it was essentially up for the next 3 years. Now, obviously, there's aberrations. It might jump 20%, then fall 8%. So you're still up 12%. There's going to be, maybe a crazy wick on the 30th of a monthly candle, then, the next month. But if we follow 2017, 2018 to the 21 bull market, this is the moment where it's just, I don't want to say up only, but where it's up only.
It starts to
now.
The slow grind up. Yeah.
The slow grind up is a better way of putting it. Up only sounds a little too bullish.
Sounds
up only is like a 3-month window where we're all like, this is going to go forever.
Yeah.
Mainstream adoption's here. We
Yeah.
hit that. No, that's not gonna. We will say that. I'm saying this now. I'm going to say that 2-3 years from now. Don't listen to me. It'll just be me getting high off my own supply.
Yeah.
But then we'll all wake up. There'll be that one day where our net worth drops a double-digit percentage, and we're like, oh yeah, right.
Bear market's coming, guys. Yeah,
Bitcoin halving schedule kind of runs everything. I forget about that, because of an Apple. Tim Apple tweeted something. All right. 50,000. Hey, he does say he owns Bitcoin, by the way. 50,000 Bitcoin bought in 5 days as these investors prepare for the Santa rally. The Santa rally is Bitcoin traditionally has a good December. Do you think? Bold prediction here. Will we have a good December again?
Good meaning, will we be higher than 16.4 at the end of December, basically?
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
When you say the price out loud, it's a little scary. I forget. In my mind, we're like 30K.
No.
No.
I think we'll be higher than 16.4 by the end of December. I do think that. I don't know. I wouldn't say a lot more, but
I do too.
My prediction for next year is that we range between 17K and 28K, and then have one pump up to 40 at some point in the middle. But generally, we stay, like 17 to 28 most of the year, with a bull fake out pump somewhere in the middle. Up
Bitcoin loves these $10,000 range, these $10,000 windows. I don't know how much is psychological, how much of this is coincidence, but love the 40 to 50 range. Love the 20 to 30 range. Also love the 30 to 40 range. And right now, I guess because, diminishing returns, now we're kind of in this like 16 to 20 range or 22. It'll be something to keep an eye out. All right, but back to the 50,000 Bitcoins. Actually, 47,888, 888, a very lucky number in Asia, were purchased by major crypto holders over the past 5 days. This represents just 1/4% of the entire supply. Here you can see addresses holding 100 to 10,000 dumped 1 1/3% of the supply during the first 3 weeks of November, and now they're back. Here you see a little bit of a bounce there. Maybe now they're back to accumulation mode. That would be nice. The volume of the recent purchases is still many times lower than what was sold in November, and so don't get too excited right now. I mean, you can see the drop off there, and then what we have gained is just a small fraction of that, but could be part of that slow grind up. And I think that's just a good way to put it. And we are here for the money, some would say. Some are here for the ideals, but I'm here and I'm okay with the slow grind. I like Pretty Ricky. They're a good band in the early aughts, I guess, but I'm okay with the slow grind. That gives us time to accumulate, because now I am in accumulation mode. Am I putting my deed up? No, of course not. But now I don't mind deploying and trying to turn my 7-chain link into 8-chain link. And maybe that would be my goal this Friday. All right. Bitcoin at $1,000. Looking back at 9 years of bull run. No, they're not saying it's going to hit 1,000. Just looking back and celebrating the 9-year anniversary of the first time Bitcoin had breached above 1,000, suspiciously close to December too. 9 years ago from yesterday, on the 27th of 2013, breached above $1,000, proved to be significant at the time. Traded above 1,000 for less than 10 days before the bear market started. I'm surprised it even did that. But yeah, if you look, there's a couple quick cycles in this 2012 to 2017 range. Where to next? 1K or 1 million? You know, I'm gonna say we're gonna hit 1 million before 1K. After breaching above 1,000 a second time, they went on a climb just under, just under a casual 2,000% to nearly 20K per coin. Today, 5 years later, it is below the 2017 bull market peak. From the $1,000 milestone to the current price of around 16, still has more than a 16,000% ROI from that date where it first hit 1,000. From its inception, of course, it's up even more than that, 150 million%.
Jeez.
But everything technically starts at zero, right? So,
Right.
I mean, you could kind of technically say, this cup of water initially to me was worth 1/1,000,000th of a penny, and now it's worth 2 pennies. So now it's a 2 million% gain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could kind of,
When you start at zero, the percentages get stupid. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, but, a good question is how long did it trade below $1? And, a shockingly decent amount of time until someone finally came through and said, I'm kind of doing the math on our, like our power usage. It's kind of worth around here. Then, the rest is history. All right. Speaking of history, historic Bitcoin miner capitulation in full effect. How long will it last? We saw that on the chart. Historically, they have a massive impact on the price, of course. This will put further selling pressure on the price, which is experiencing a historically bad November, now down 27%. 7-day moving average hash rate is now 13.7% away from its all-time high. Even despite the low price, mining difficulty is expected to adjust by probably a drop of 9% in a week, which will take some pressure off miners, at least in the short term. Well, the way, if you don't really understand what this means, what do you mean this takes pressure off the miners? You'll earn more Bitcoin per hour of computing power, I guess. So if you have a flat rate of $10,000 of electricity every month, when that hash rate drops 9%, you can, in a vacuum, expect you'll earn 9% more Bitcoin. Now, you might earn
technically spend 9% less is really what it is. You're earning the same amount of Bitcoin. You're just spending less. Power.
More Bitcoin per kilowatt dollar, I guess. Yeah. It starts getting, where's Seth when you need him? All right. But yeah, that's a good distinction there. All right. As Charles Edwards noted yesterday, hash ribbons have confirmed the start of capitulation triggered by the $10 billion FTX scam and subsequent collapse. Bitcoin miners are now going broke and the hash rate is trending down. Here's my bold prediction from this. I think people expected more of a drop here. You could see that capitulation as everyone just starts dumping. I think people did expect, oh my God, there's people who are privy to the information, before really has been digested by everyone. Like, okay, I see what's happening. I see what FTX, I saw this collapse. I see how much Solana they have, how much Bitcoin they're supposed to have, all this. I'm expecting like 11K Bitcoin. I'm expecting 13K Bitcoin. I think they're shocked that it didn't fall more. That's my 2 cents at least. But what did I say about, the sign of a bear market ending is bad news doesn't push the price further down. No, it did push it down, but I think it's safe to say less than we all expected. What would you say? Would you agree with that statement? Did it fall less than expected?
I think it's falling less, diminishing. The fall is being less and less each time. So if you think about, the biggest hit was early on. We saw Three Arrows Capital fall, and everybody started, and then Celsius went down, and the price, huge chunks out of the price as that happened, and then a little bit less when Voyager went under, and a little bit less when FTX, the biggest of all of them, the most assets of
biggest
all of them,
next to Binance, which would obviously be huge,
right? But
so
least
about the biggest thing that could happen,
least price impact so far. And now we're looking at Genesis and some of these other ones, and BlockFi just did it, and again, basically no price impact. So to me, they're having less impact as we go, which is great.
Someone said Bitcoin's yearly funeral is over. Well, the all-time high was the first week of November, or maybe the second. It was the first half, and now we're almost in December. So
there you go.
All right, people with strong Balenciaga. I shouldn't have mentioned them. I shouldn't have read that, obviously, but yeah, heck with them, man. I don't own any of that stuff, but I definitely wouldn't now.
Yeah.
All right, firm with $4.5 trillion worth of assets under management enables Bitcoin trading.
Oh, Fidelity.
Wait. This is the next 100x crypto. Let's click on this.
Gosh.
No. U.S. asset manager Fidelity Investments has decided to launch Bitcoin trading for retail investors, catering to the needs of growing number of the company clients. All right, I just kind of want to linger on this for a second. All right, who are we? Crypto news. I mean, you got a good URL. I'm not trying to bash crypto news. Let's just. I do want to say this. We like BitGet, we like KuCoin, we like obviously we like BitLab Academy, we like Ledger. when you have a name, when you have a sponsor, you got to kind of have to think about, you know, I'm putting my name out there and I'm saying I represent, you know, they're paying me money for me to say, you know what, I also represent this ideal. And this is just not a good look. The next 100x crypto. It reminds me when you see what could be a news article.
But you have to make like you really want to click on it. Don't
Well,
you want to see what's on the
they'll
other
throw in
side?
something like really bad. It'll be like the lady from Crocodile Dundee is now hideous,
Yeah.
or she is disgusting now. Like, wait till you see Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
Gross. And you're like, what? Why? It's just it's a feel bad. I feel bad, but I ain't gonna lie. I really want to.
You want to know what they're
I
claiming.
really want to
yeah.
click on that link. We're not gonna do it though. We're not gonna do it. We don't want to pump up some micro cap.
Well, do it. Just do it. I just want to see.
All right.
I won't
all
show
right.
it.
Dang it. We we talked about it. Let's do it. All
I
right.
just want to see what it is.
Oh my god. I guarantee it's a paid article.
It's a whole shill list.
Yeah, it's a paid article.
All right, we won't show it. But I was just curious to see what. So it's just a link to a blog with like 20 pics on it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Right.
So
We'll
I mean,
we'll
you know
keep
what?
it.
They're probably, you know, there's a non-zero chance that they will be right, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you could do the math like top 1,000 market cap, and you know, we threw 40 at the wall, and we think, hey, actually that one did. Hey, we're right.
Did you see this? That Russian crypto billionaire died in a helicopter crash.
I did. I actually talked to Johnny and Drew about that this morning. Where we're going to talk about that. It's hard to find news. Yeah, there's another crypto billionaire just died.
Oh, he was a crypto. I didn't know he was a crypto guy.
Crypto billionaire just died. A Russian. All right, that's a wrinkle in the story. You know, I think it's safe to say that's a wrinkle. Sorry, Nina, but that's a wrinkle. And then the second thing, helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Helicopter crash. So crypto billionaire Russian just died in a helicopter crash. I was reading up on Twitter. Someone saying, is this the new boating accident? Is helicopter crash the new boating
People are making
accident? And if you
themselves
think
disappear.
about it, it's kind of easy to, you know, you send the scuba divers into the lake.
Right.
Hey, I found the skeleton, you know, but what about a crash? I don't know. You know, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We don't know. And I don't mean to belittle this. You know, the guy probably has a family. There's people probably hurting right now.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of things one could speculate on, I think is what we could say here. All right, back to Fidelity though. You know, they do have a lot of assets. You know, just a casual $4.5 trillion, not B. That's a T. That's a big T right there. $4.5 trillion. They decided to launch Bitcoin trading for retail investors, catering to the needs of a growing number of the clients. They have contacted those who signed up for a wait list to set up those who are interested in trading Bitcoin. Going to be able to engage in commission-free Bitcoin and Ethereum trading, and are requested to read and accept numerous disclosures. Big question is, are they going to have proof of funds? You know, how are they going to do that? I mean, with $4.5 trillion, you think that they're going to hold the Bitcoin, and don't they already maybe have some exposure elsewhere?
Yes, they do. Fidelity does have different Bitcoin products, I think, for some of their institutional clients. So I think this is, if I had to guess, it sounds like this opening up to retail. This is 401ks is a key part of their business. So that's what I would imagine is it's going to allow people to buy spot Bitcoin within their 401k, which will be big. And those are the kind of things that will set up the 24 or 25 bull run to blow your mind. So that's when, and this is the type of news, extremely bullish in a bear market would be moving in a bull market, that would have a dramatic impact on the price. It's having no impact on the price right now, but it will a year and a half from now.
Yeah. And if I had to bet, I'm just like trying to think logically, first, second order consequences. Yeah, they probably will have the 1-to-1 reserve, because if they have other assets in Bitcoin, you know, related stocks, ETFs, mining companies, whatever, them market buying a Bitcoin for every one of their customers that wants one, just market buying one of one is going to pump their other products. And so, you know, when you have 4.5 trillion in assets, everything is synergistic. Everything is kind of connected to this. You don't make any move you don't do something with your right arm that's going to hurt your left. You know, you're an autonomous organization, just making sure you're operating as just a lean machine. And I think Larry Fink maybe is the CEO. Yeah, they know what they're doing over there. Yeah, I would say. All right, who is next? Crypto community points the finger at Binance, Kucoin, and Nexo. Let's go over some FUD here. This is insolvency rumors concerning some of these exchanges, and this is persisting following BlockFi's Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings. Weeks after FTX also filed for bankruptcy, BlockFi issued a statement saying it could not operate business as usual. At the same time, they implemented a pause on withdrawals. Now, who do you think is next to go bankrupt? Says this guy with mac and cheesy's hat right there. On Binance, Bitcoin magazine analyst Dylan LeClaire said he's getting weird vibes from CZ. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, public projection of strength, talks of industry bailouts while attempting to raise funds, not claiming anything, but the similarities are odd. I will say this, the talks of industry bailouts just appears to be the FTX thing. He wasn't, trying to buy these known Ponzi's. He did look into FTX. I think, what was it, 24 hours after peaking out, they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
They ran away. They ran away from that thing. And so there's a little bit of a spin on the CZ situation there. So there's a quote. He may be completely insolvent and it may all crash down. It's very possible. But there's another reason to do it, which is it's just that it makes you $5 billion to spend $2 billion, then you do it. It could be a simple economic calculation. Oh, well, we'll see. Then we have Kucoin. Of course, there's a lot of news talking about what people thought was ridiculous APR. This is from Crypto Capital Venture. Dan, big shout out to Dan. He's been on ATB. Dan, love to get you back on. Won't bring up Coco Loco. Kidding. Point out that KuCoin is offering some ridiculous APRs with locked Bitcoin paying out almost 300% interest. You see this and you think, wait, stake my Bitcoin and get 300%. That is not how this works. We actually, I think we have a thread on it here.
Yeah, this is something that I think that's important right now, and it shows bear market vibes. Obviously, people are scared. You got bankruptcy going left and right, and so everybody's trying to look for that next bankruptcy. There's a lot of misinformation. We covered some of the stuff. There was big rumors about wrapped Bitcoins going insolvent. Somebody said it as a joke, and then it really spun off, and they were like, "Oh yeah, wrapped Bitcoin's going insolvent. Anybody who's holding it, I'll buy yours for 0.5 just to make sure you know." It was clearly somebody trying to profit off of other people's fear, and then they came back later and said it was a joke and yada yada yada. So I would say be careful. So with this story,
there's like Telegram groups. That's all they do. Coordinated FUD attempts.
Well,
with
and so
30 different Twitter accounts and 2 different articles and then Reddit posts and 4chan.
Right. And I saw the same thing going around last night with this APY stuff. And I'm like, that seems good. Like, that's usually is a bad sign if you see an exchange offering crazy return yield on a product, but this is not. So we reached out to KuCoin specifically and said, hey, what is this? And they said, no, this is definitely not yield.
Yeah, I looked into it and I was able to discern within 10 seconds, like, oh, this isn't yield. This is like a complicated financial instrument.
Right.
Where when it gets super complicated like that, it's complicated for a reason. And I'm not saying it's to hoodwink people, but it's to get, look, they're in business to make money. And so, yeah, they have a complicated thing where it's here. We'll just break it down. There's people smarter than me kind of talking about it. I've been seeing absurd FUD regarding the APR. Dual investment is a financial product that is non-principal protected and has high yields. Same on Binance. Should you withdraw from Binance because of the enormous APR? No. Is this a real concern? What is it? You may lose the chance to buy or sell at a more advantageous price if the price drifts further from the target price. Target price is important there. Remember that. Based only on the price of the settlement date. Remember that. Trade can only take place. Dual investment is not risk-free investment. Be aware. Just kind of break it down. You buy Bitcoin at, was it 16.5, and you say 2 weeks from now it's going to be 17.5. And if I hit my target exactly, I get 300% APR for a 2-week period. So it wouldn't be it'd be the 2-week it'd be 1/26th of the rewards there, I guess. And if you're off from that, it deviates from 300%.
Right.
So you lose money. This is a financial instrument. It's like leverage trading mixed with futures mixed with I don't know, yield staking, but it's really none of those things. I'm just trying to dumb it down.
No, that's a great way to say it.
I'm too dumb to even understand.
No, it's a mixture of a lot of those different products, and it's the main point is it's a high risk trade that gets high rewards, but it's not just put your Bitcoin here and get 300% APY, because that would be a cause for concern. So that's what
I would withdraw everything if they were paying out 300% APY on Bitcoin. I would be like, oh, this is clearly fake. They're going to rug pull us all in a day. No, that's not what this is. And I still use KuCoin.
Right.
I think Frank definitely still likes it.
Not saying obviously that they're 100. We can't speak 100% to their insolvency, but I would say be careful. There's a lot of this. This clearly looks like FUD and misinformation. You can go to CoinMarketCap, pull up their go to exchanges. You can see they've done proof of reserves. I'll do it right here. You can do it real quick if you want.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I don't put my seal of approval on anything.
Right.
Like I don't guarantee a single thing, but there's things that I trust enough to use, and I trust it as far as I could throw my phone. Pretty far. But I'm not John Elway or Napoleon Dynamite's brother. I can't throw it that far.
I don't know
And
how
so
you.
you only have so much trust there.
I don't know how you would say this guy's name in the super chat.
Zyfax,
there
I
you go.
guess. I've noticed when an exchange goes accredited investors only, it's a sign of issues. As so, Nexo and Abra are next on my bingo card.
And that is something. That's what we noticed. Celsius did the same thing basically right before they filed anything. They said, only accredited investors. So that is something to keep an eye on. So.
And speaking of Nexo, that's the third and final one that they mentioned. Nexo says it has zero contagion exposure. An API error stopped the daily auditor attestation of their assets exceeding its liabilities. The issue was resolved in a matter of hours. However, met with a flood of messages on social media, people warning that it is insolvent. And so they seem to be coming forward and saying, hey, we have zero exposure to FTX, Alameda, Genesis, Luna, Celsius. So,
which is baffling to me. How is that even possible? Everybody else in the industry had some exposure to all of it, but anyway.
There were people who got money out, and then they say, maybe they're not saying they never ever had money on there. They just had exposure due, on the day that it went down. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that is a good point. Like, who are they using? Then?
Yeah. How can a bank not have any exposure to any other bank that literally the whole industry had some touch to Three Arrows Capital, Alameda, Genesis, and they're all wrapped up together. So I don't know. It'll
Well, speaking of everything being entrenched, Silvergate Capital reports less than 20 million in BlockFi deposit exposure. Said it was minimal exposure to the lender BlockFi, and said the BlockFi deposits make up just less than 20 so far. And then BlockFi disclosed it had over 100,000 creditors and assets and liabilities of between $1 and $10 billion. Silvergate added it maintains a first priority lien and security interest in a cash collateral account, which contains $10 million for the benefit of Silvergate to support automated clearinghouse services provided to BlockFi. Silvergate previously said his exposure to bankrupt crypto exchange FTX was limited to deposits, with FTX representing less than 10%. So they had some exposure, but it was single digits, so not too much. Didn't have all their eggs in one basket. And I practice the same thing. I preach the same thing. I have multiple MetaMask. I have, multiple ADA wallets. I have multiple exchanges that I uses. Now, I do just have one fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. That's Coinbase. I was actually going to use Decker's, which was the Winklevi's. Now I don't know. So what would you recommend for a second fiat on-ramp, off-ramp? If you weren't going to use Coinbase, what would you recommend? I don't really know.
For you, and I like the big ones that have been around a while. So Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. So like if you didn't want to try Gemini,
I love Jesse Powell.
Yeah,
I'll probably do Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken. They stand up for a lot of users' rights and stuff. They're not going to roll over for the government unless they have to. I don't know. There was that story where they had to pay a fine. They pay like $380K to the government this week for not upholding OFAC sanctions and stuff. So they're gonna push that envelope as much as they can.
Yeah,
which I
like
appreciate.
that.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, I mean, push back against the man, push back against censorship. I'm very anti-censorship. But there is a bad side to that coin. Then you have Balenciaga putting creepy ads up on Instagram. Although that is a private company, it's a whole different issue. And I understand. I'm not trying to conflate the two issues, but you know what? The way you beat bad speech is you shine a little sunlight on there. You disinfect it. You shine a light to the cockroaches. And so you don't banish it to a dark realm of a basement. Then it just festers. You got mold in a corner and it got no light. It's just kind of sitting there thriving in its moisture and its ooze and its ick. That's a bad thing. So you want to expose, you want to air these things out. And sorry, I keep bringing it up, man. It's just so sketchy.
It is
so sketchy.
Yeah.
All right. Bank, and no one's talking about it. And then the Kim K, she's like, you know what? I looked at it. I'm appalled. I'm horrified. Are you going to cancel your work with them? Well, I'm going to see if they change.
Yeah.
And so basically, Kim K says I'm going to keep taking their money until I change my mind.
Right.
And so yeah,
that's like O'Leary saying he'll reinvest in Sam Bankman-Fried.
I
can't believe what they're doing, but if it still pays me.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is like she's getting back at Kanye, because Kanye broke ties, and I don't know. It's weird though. All right, bankrupt crypto firm BlockFi sues Sam Bankman-Fried for $580 million here. He tried to seize shares in. Oh yeah, they want his. I was reading about this morning. They want his Robinhood shares, allegedly pledged as collateral by the CEO just days before they notoriously imploded. Now, I wonder what they have. If they have like verbal, is it a Slack message? What do they have here? per data from Yahoo Finance. Hey, Yahoo with the breaking news here. Robinhood has 835. Dude, they Googled it. They Googled Yahoo Finance. I thought they were like, oh no, they had an investigative reporter. No, this is them like looking at the, oh yeah, here's outstanding shares. We have is that a stink bug? There's a stink bug
There's a
in
bug
here.
flying around. I hate those things.
Oh man.
I hate
Dude,
those
there's one that like they get in my chimney.
Yeah.
All right. So Robinhood has 835 million shares. 7.6% of that would be 63 million, which is worth just over $500 million at the current price of $9.19. Here's Autism Capital. What are your thoughts on the Autism Capital? I haven't been up to date with that. Is it insiders from Alameda? Is it not?
My take is it started as a shared account between a bunch of people who traded for Alameda. Maybe it was 5, 10, some of their top traders. Who runs it now, I think, are people that used to work at Alameda. Maybe Sam was involved with it at one point. I don't think he is.
They had scoops.
Yeah. No, I think they're definitely
scoops.
very closely connected and have a lot of information. I think
it's proof that they are closely connected. Like we can't they had scoops. They are definitely closely connected. That's a fact. But
I think they're ex-Alameda employees, basically.
All right. Well, Autism Capital, upon the FTX bankruptcy, this constituted a default under the November 9th agreement. Because of this, they had the right to call Alameda's loan, but with the failure to make good on this payment, they then requested to have the collateral transfer. They said Robinhood stocks were collateral. What this means is SBF guaranteed Alameda's loans to BlockFi with a pledge of his Hood shares. That's what they're saying here. Many people are hoping for the Hood shares to be liquidated to get some money back. If that happens, that might be a good buy. Emergent was supposed to have delivered the collateral shares, but did not, after which BlockFi reportedly notified Emergent that the forbearance period had ended. So it's going to be an interesting story to see. This might take years. This might take months. But if there is a big liquidation event and Robinhood drops down in price, I might buy some. Do I think Vlad's a vampire? No. Does he have the name of one? Does he look like one? Yes. Do I think he is? No. Am I a big fan of that site? Not at all. Not at all. But at the end of the day, it's a good product.
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
It's the best stock buying app on a phone. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. I'd love to try out a different one. So at the end of the day, it's like you might hate a company, but at the end of the day, you got to use it. It's like airplanes. People will get over the fact that we all hate airplanes, but you know what? We just accept it because it's like kind of a necessary evil.
Yeah.
But when there's options, then you can get on a moral high horse and say, you know what? I would never use that. I have this better option. Airplanes, they all suck. They all suck. So there is no high horse. Robinhood's kind of the same situation. There is no other option here. So it's like, you can hate the guy, but where else are you? I don't want to use E-Trade. You're getting the same people rich no matter what. It's not like using E-Trade versus Robinhood. You're just really just hurting yourself because you're going to pay more in fees. You're going to do all these other things. I'd rather just use Robinhood. At least I know I'm dancing with the devil. He's not the devil.
Webull is another one that I would say competes with it. It's probably I haven't used it as much, but it would be somebody did mention that.
I'm very open to an alternative, so I'll look into it.
We tested it for a while. I think we did something with Webull.
Right. I think I'm about to get a new bank. I'm gonna get a new bank. Truist, it's just too much jagging around. I want to get one of those like little co-op things.
Yeah. Truist is too old school.
Man, I was like BB&T. It was cool when I like lived in North Carolina. It's a North Carolina company. It was based like, hey, yeah, the headquarters is like down the highway. But now it's like, I'm in a different state. It's time to cut those North Carolina ties. I'm a Georgia boy. Yeah. All right. FTX reportedly used Alameda's bank accounts to process customer funds. I mean, this is just old news. I mean, apparently this is, breaking, but it looks like maybe they're possibly finding a little evidence there. But yeah, I mean, that's clearly what was happening. A U.S. House committee set for the 13th. That's the date for the hearing. The House event titled Investigating the Collapse of FTX will follow a similar hearing in the Senate Agriculture Committee scheduled for December 1st. You might see this Agriculture Committee. What the heck? CFTC. CFTC is based out of that. All right. House Financial Services Committee Chair Maxine Waters said on the 28th that lawmakers will explore the collapse of FTX at the 13th inquiry, expected to be the first in a series of hearings about FTX. This one was first announced on the 16th, but not scheduled until just now. Now, Maxine, she has the pictures. She's cozy with Sam. She got money from Sam. It's going to go two ways. She's going to be more favorable, or the rubber band snaps. She's like, dang it, I got a picture with the guy. I got to come down harder. Which do you think Maxine is going to choose?
I don't think it'll be hard at all. I think it'll be consistent with what we've seen from the mainstream media, where they're going to try to project a firm stance, but it's going to be generally soft.
He's not like doing time or anything, basically. Like they'll pretend like they're coming after him, but then like, you know, he's.
I think they're going to push it way down the line. I don't think we're, you know, like there's a long time before they'll get to sentencing. And I think they're hoping by the time they get to sentencing, this is not a mainstream news thing. It'll just slide under the radar. So I think he will get sentenced something, but I think I don't think the punishment will fit the crime at all. I think it'll be less than what Elizabeth Holmes got.
I think his haircut caused a lot of spotlight that he didn't necessarily need. It kind of reminds me of Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that guy talk, I am impressed. You know, you may hate the guy, but like he is a very, very smart individual. And that was a long period. If you guys were following that, his whole thing was kids' cancer medication. So you're like, oh, that headline just writes itself. Sam Bankman, he has the picture. Happy kid playing League of Legends with curly hair, like long mop. And so like just that visual of this, he's so antithetical to what you would think of a white collar criminal or just a criminal in general. You think of a white collar, you're thinking like a Bernie Madoff, sleazy guy with suspenders, dressed like Martin Gecko, quotes, you know, Patrick Bateman. You think of this like slimy, slick back hair, has a very fancy business card. You don't think of Sam Bankman-Fried. Or you think of a criminal, you think of like he looks like Johnny, the coworker of mine. Kid, I love you, Johnny. But neck tattoos, maybe a teardrop. Then you see Sam Bankman-Fried, and you're just like, so I just think that visual is so powerful. He's gonna stay in the spotlight. That's my prediction, at least. Yeah. I don't know.
I think they've got the media. They've got such a strong media handle that they'll be able to shape the narrative pretty strongly. His parents being they. So yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to watch how it goes. But I mean, I don't think anybody predicted it to be as soft as it was. I mean. No. Story after story has just been softball. So I think whatever he does with the Times on the 30th will be telling, but I think it's going to be a lot of whitewashing and just trying to make it look as simplistic as possible and as accidental as possible. It's just a mistake, you know, give him another chance.
The corruption went a lot higher when I noticed that Wall Street Journal did a fluff piece too. And they traditionally go like they're the almost not an anti New York Times, because that'd be the New York Post. But, you know, they definitely more centrist, I guess I could say. And the fact that they went soft on them, I was just like, wow, this corruption runs deep. There's, you know, we all say like, it's all the same people. It's all the same people. It literally is just all the same people. Yeah. There's
the rich people. That's what it is. It's the rich people.
It's the rich people. There's very few billionaires, but like I have serious morality, you know, stances, and I put my money where my mouth is. You know, it's Soros and the Koch brothers. And then everybody else is just like playing both sides. I think there's like you know what? And those two that I just named, they're probably playing both sides in some secret way that I don't know.
All sides. Yeah.
It's all the same. All right. FTX. This is obviously more just like a nothing burger, but it's a fun story. FTX collapse impacts Miami's nightclub scene. Yeah. Young crypto entrepreneurs went from spending big bucks on champagne showers to being visibly absent from the nightclub scene.
Well, this might sound like a joke, but if they say crypto is a leading indicator for stocks, the nightclubs are a leading indicator for crypto. And just jokes aside, this is pretty good indicator. When nobody's spending at the nightclubs anymore, it might be the bottom of a bear market.
Oh man, I'm not really a club goer these days. But I've shared the story. I did work for an adult chain, and I worked there in the midst of the 08 collapse, 07, 08. So I saw everything, and I was pretty poor back then. My boss, he was the owner. He owned a third of a chain, so he was quite wealthy. I just remember him being so distraught. I think it was George Bush, and it was talking about bailing out Lehman Brothers. It was like the big press conference, and he was just so bummed. And we had seen the numbers dropping for, if not months, at least weeks ahead of time. So yeah, nightclub scene is crypto's a leading indicator. Nightclubs are a leading indicator. So maybe instead of Jim Cramer, like let's talk to bottle service people or like bartenders or like, hey, door guy, how much did you get tipped last month? Yeah. Oh no, it's down.
Ask the dancers. What is the dancing index doing these days? And that's how we'll know.
I was not a dancer. I see roll. No. Okay. There was no sock. There was no banana hammock. Okay, I was an accountant.
Easy down under or whatever.
I didn't work inside the club at all. I didn't clock in. I worked out of a strip mall next to the DMV. Like I worked out of an accounting office. Like my life was like TJ's dad's. Okay, it wasn't like this exciting.
For some reason, I always picture you as like a. I just blanked on his name. The guy from Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman. Like you're accounting, but for the good guy. Like you're still a suit and tie, but you're still dealing with some interesting characters.
Yeah. You don't need a criminal influencer. You need okay.
You're just a problem solver.
You need a problem solver. All right. According to the nightclub owners, young nerdy crypto. Hey, what's up with the labels here, nightclub owners? According to douchey nightclub owners
Yeah,
who
right.
drive BMWs, who wear too much cologne, young nerdy crypto bros went from lavishly spending on champagne showers and buying 50K tables to completely vanishing from the nightlife
Sounds
scene.
about right.
This is from 11. 11 is like the top 2 club in Miami. Shared that once his establishment started accepting cryptocurrency payments, it processed 6 million worth of transactions between April and December 21. However, over the last 3 months, they've only recorded $10,000 worth of transactions.
Wow.
From 6 million to 10K. Now, this isn't Sam's fault. This is definitely
No.
a bear market issue. But that is a delta. That's a huge gulf, man.
Yeah.
6 million to 10K. It was one guy. It was
Yeah.
one, I mean, what these tables cost. That's one table.
Yeah.
And that's like not even the good table. That's like you get 3 bottles and the people with the lights come out once or twice. That's not even the good table. One guy did it and he was probably like, how much ETH was that? Like, oh my God, how much ETH did I just spend? Yeah. Nerdy crypto bros and gals, we're smart. Okay. We don't want to spend our Satoshis during the bear market. Do we want to spend it in November and December of 21? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what, that's what the smart people do. Sometimes they do it accidentally, like me. I didn't know that was the top. I was selling for different reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But you
I
nailed
sold
it.
at the top.
You nailed it. That's
I
what
nailed
that's
it.
What counts.
That's what's important. I nailed it. And I called it within 2 weeks, a year ahead of time. Better than Richard. All right. I called the date, not when it was high. I'm like, oh, it probably goes down. I called the date a year ahead of time. All right. I was 2 weeks off, but still, that was pretty close. I think Nexus Pad Protocol will insane now that CZ is behind it. I've been complete parabolic run. Man, stay away from the coins, man. I don't know, man. If you're on a parabolic run, I mean, I don't know. Sounds like you should take profit. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know from what little I read there. Are you ready to talk about Elon and Tim Apple here?
Let's do it.
All right. Elon Musk claims Apple has threatened to remove the Twitter app. That's going to be nuts if it does happen. Twitter owner Elon Musk claimed on Mondays in a series of tweets that they have threatened to remove the Twitter app from the store as part of its app review moderation process. Apple has threatened to withhold Twitter from its app store, but won't tell us why, he tweeted. Another tweet's fired off. He called the app store fees a secret 30% tax. All right, just to play devil's advocate, sometimes it's 15% if you make less than $1 million. But yeah, everything above that's 30%. And ran a poll asking if Apple should publish all censorship actions it has taken that affect its customers. He also claimed that Apple's pulled most of its advertising from Twitter. Let's see here. Representatives for unnamed app stores, which include Apple's app store as well as Google Play, reached out to Twitter earlier this month after Musk took over and the site saw a wave of hate speech, according to an op-ed.
Come on.
But really, the statistics and the facts that I've seen where they're counting hashtags and they're counting, those are all down. Those are all down. So
I use Twitter a lot every single day, and I have not seen an uptick in hate speech since
I've not seen any uptick. I know they're saying it's now become a bastion of hate speech because they allowed previously banned people on, but they allowed people on both sides.
Yeah, and a lot of those previously banned people haven't even come back all that much, posting all that.
Like Trump hasn't tweeted.
Yeah, but they would cite that as like, oh, look at all this hate speech that's back because Trump got reinstated, and it's like it hasn't even really been a factor in my opinion.
Yeah, hate speech is down, but yeah, it's like people who don't use the product complaining on how terrible it is. But what's always weird to me is this is a threat to free speech because he's adding free speech. That sentence doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
How does that make sense? He's a threat to free speech because he's allowing free speech.
Right.
Just does not compute as
but it is. I do think it's interesting that it moves the conversation forward. I know Epic Games had a big run-in with Apple about this in their app store, and they, that's why Epic Games is not in the app store at all, because they didn't want to deal with any of this stuff. And it will be fascinating to see if they really fight this battle. I don't think they want this fight. I mean, he put that meme up that showed like pay 30%, go to war, that fork in the road kind of thing. Elon Musk tweeted that the other day.
So he did float out the idea if they do ban him, he'll make a phone.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good for moving the conversation forward. Am I going to run out and buy the phone? Not necessarily, but I think somebody said, Elon Musk, it will take Elon less time to figure out how to make a good phone than it would take Tim Cook to make a good car, which I agree with that. That being said, I don't think either one's easy to do. Hardware devices, especially when you start getting into it, is tough. But I mean, I think they could do it. And I think more competition would be great if we had something other than just Google
turning a
and Apple.
duopoly into a a three-pronged serpent there. I mean, it's better. The more app stores we have, the more freedom there's going to be.
Maybe they'll take over the Solana phone.
Yeah.
I think that's dead in the water at this point.
I mean, maybe buys them out for, like 17 Doge or something. I don't know. All right. Speaking of Apple, in their shadiness, I only say that because I'm an Android boy. Library alleges Apple forced it to censor certain terms during COVID-19. This was, during Elon lamenting the winding back of their advertising. Library came in and said, hey, we got receipts here. On the 28th, Library alleged was asked to censor anything related to COVID-19, especially vaccines and the human origins of the virus, or face having its apps removed from the App Store. It didn't come from a fucking pangolin. All right, sorry. Library also alleges when some of its users included images of Pepe the Frog in videos, Apple rejected them. This one I found pretty amusing because I saw people, a comment was like, you're pushing hateful drawings. And I was like, what the heck are they talking? I'm thinking like, oh my God, this is like some 1920s crazy racist newspaper Klan caricature, some weird, like just crazy. Oh my God, this is going to be like some weird racial theory thing. No, it was the freaking frog meme.
Yeah.
It's a frog meme. It's a frog meme. Do some
frog.
people try to, change the meaning of it after the fact? No, look, the cat's already out of the bag. It's a stupid frog that like is just a funny meme. It's a funny joke. Just because there's a group of idiots who trolled you into thinking it represents hatred or hate speech doesn't mean it is. It's like I say, you know what? This cup represents freedom. And you could go and say, you know what? No, it doesn't. It represents censorship. We're just making up things at like after the fact. Really, it's a cup. Okay, that's all it is. It's a cup. Just like that's a frog. It's a cartoon frog. That's all it is. It's funny looking. I remember I was there when it blew up.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in the trenches of the internet when it blew up. It was just a stupid frog. That's all it was, and that's all it is. And I don't allow you to change the definition of what I know what it means. Now you can have your own definition, but don't project your definition onto me. That's all I'm saying. All right. October 18th announcement came roughly. This is talking about the Dorsey. Let's see here. Twitter files on free speech suppression soon to be published on Twitter itself. The public deserves to know what really happened. The people who quit are freaking out right now.
Yeah.
This came roughly 3 years after the initiative was announced by Jack Dorsey, with the goal of allowing users should have to have control over their data and be able to move it from platform to platform without permission. I love this. Exposing the cockroach, opening the skeletons in the closet. He basically bought this building. There's skeletons in the closet. He could hide it. He could board over it. He said, you know what? Let's just be open. Let's shine a light on it. And then people are going to, I guarantee what's going to happen is when he says, look at all these things that were happening over 3 years, they're going to conflate that to what he's doing. Like the story will move and it'll like play telephone where it's like, look what Elon's doing with Twitter. And it's like, no, he's exposed these bad practices. And here's a 17 tweet thread of how he's changing it. No, he's doing all these bad things. And that's going to be the story. It'll be fun to watch. But
he's got a lot of leverage right now. I was realizing that last night with some of these tweets coming out. I think this is the number one reason they didn't want him to buy Twitter is now he's got a lot of leverage against a lot of powerful people, governments and things like that.
I didn't even think about the leverage over Apple and Google.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or
definitely
the
leverage
United
there.
States even.
Yeah, not even maybe not even so much like leverage in the courtroom, like there's secret battles, leverage in the court of public opinion.
Yep.
And say, here's the shotgun barrel that is pointed at my face. You see what I got to go through with app stores and you see what they're putting me through. Let's just expose all that. And people are like, wait, what are they doing? A lot of people didn't even know about the 30%. We know about it because it comes up in NFTs and crypto, and we just kind of cover app stores and tech in general. A lot of people don't know about it's basically a duopoly, which is very close to monopoly. And yeah, Google and Apple, they kind of, they have a duopoly over all these apps. And yeah, a 30% surcharge is a 30% tax on the internet. That's a good way of looking at it. All right, let's talk a little DeFi real quick. AAVE DeFi platform freezes 17 crypto markets on platform due to volatility concerns. More trouble on the way. The protocol froze 17 cryptos, including 5 stablecoins, suspended stablecoins, including SUSD, USDP, LUSD, GUSD, and RAI. Failed $60 million attack on AAVE. Recent proposal came as they faced a $60 million short attack on its CRV pool using USDC as collateral earlier this month. The attack was unable to go through because of a wrong calculation on the decentralized protocol's liquidity level. Yeah, we saw that. What did it drop to? 97%, 90. I don't know. It flash crashed down a couple pennies for sure, but they recovered pretty quickly. Compound financed to impose lending caps in light of that failed exploit. So now it's just a little bit of the pain the industry went through, and it seems like some of the other projects are going to learn from that mistake and then kind of change some things here. So a good positive for the industry here. Hey, hold on. I have gluten belly. XRP becomes third largest asset. XRP Armory. Hit that like button. Hit it. Smash it right now. Doesn't cost anything. Smash it. Thank you. XRP, third largest asset on Canada's major crypto exchange. Here's how many millions it holds. I'm assuming after ETH and Bitcoin. Crypto analytics. Oh, this is from Nansen. Definitely legit, if I had to guess. Nansen's top tier in the industry. Revealed data from crypto exchanges as part of a trend towards publishing proof of reserves. As became known then, 16 2/3 of the holdings of CoinSquare, a major cryptocurrency exchange, are in XRP. Second is only Bitcoin and Ethereum. The XRP reserve stands at 52.6 million tokens with equivalent of about $20 million. The total reserve stands at 125 million. So not the world's largest exchange, but kind of just speaks to you know what? I know one Canadian, well, two, Mason and Meg. They're both huge fans of XRP.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use that anecdotal evidence and say Canada loves XRP. I don't know what it is.
2 for 2. 100% of the people you know.
I mean, 100% of the time it works out. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's all I'm saying, man. Something about maple syrup and XRP is their two favorite things. And Mike Myers. All right. Ripple and SEC file their summary judgment pleadings early. Next dates to watch here. We are going to, of course, be following this. This is from Phil's tweet. Both Ripple and the SEC filed their summary judgment briefs early yesterday. Originally, they had to file by the 30th. On the 2nd, they were scheduled to meet and jointly discuss redactions before a release was scheduled for the 5th. And finally, on the 22nd, the motions to seal all documents were to be filed. So we got a deadline on the 22nd. They got to get all these things filed. However, Fred Rispoli doesn't believe it'll end so soon. According to him, it's unlikely SEC will agree to release the Hinman emails without a court order. And that isn't going to be until January 9th. So, yeah, I think they'll fight that as well. They'll definitely need a court order. And so, yeah, January 9th, more XRP news coming. It's happening fast now, too. It's starting to really, really happen. Before, it was like these big macro, the early stages of the court proceedings, it'd be like 3-month delays, 4-month delays, 2.5-month delays. Now it's like, all right, 9 days from now. Okay. All right. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. So things are starting to heat up here. And I'm for it, man. It's going to be exciting to watch. Maybe it coincides with some like parabolic Bitcoin action. That'd be pretty cool here. Let's see. We have Kraken, Hubie, and then Meta. Let's look at the Kraken story real quick. We'll do one quick hit.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Kraken settles $1 million in apparent sanctions valuations for $360K. I love that. I love that. It's putting their money where their mouth is, fighting for freedom and saying, you know what? Find me. That's the definition of F me money right there. Kraken processed 826 transactions, totaling approximately 1.68 million. And these people appear to have been located in Iran at the time. Iran is under sanctions of various kinds by the U.S. since 1979. This law forbids transactions of various kinds with Iran. And they used OFAC, and they found fault in Kraken's failure to check the whereabouts of the users. But then they said, this is from OFAC, also noted that Kraken has been proactive about correcting the shortcomings, first through self-reporting the violations. Settlement amount, this is kind of how they decided on the token amount there. And Kraken is pleased to resolve this matter, which we discovered voluntarily self-reported and swiftly corrected. So looks like they self-reported. Earlier this year, of course, Treasury Department came under fire, for sanctioning Tornado Cash. So there are some sanctions: Iran, North Korea, Tornado Cash, and so that's authorities coming after them. Kraken said, "You know what? Slap our wrists. Here's your money. Now shut up."
Right.
But yeah, Jesse Powell, he's an OG. Jesse Powell, talk about 99% of people. They all get into crypto for the same thing, but then we all stay for the right reasons. Well, there is that 1%. And I think he is that 1%. He wasn't motivated. Like, he got into crypto specifically for its ideals, Bitcoin could go down for 5 years, 10 years, and I still feel like Jesse Powell would still be fighting in the trenches. And so Jesse Powell, he's a real one. People I know that knew him personally had nothing but good things to say about him. I've never met the guy. Love to have him on ATB. And so that's
Yeah.
I want to end that. Do we have any Q&A from the BitSquad? Here?
Nothing right now. Just wrap it up. Have a good rest of the
All
day.
right. I hope y'all had a good weekend. Hopefully y'all didn't spend too much money. Goodbye, TikTok. We'll see how long you're in the States. We're kidding. We love you, ByteDance. Until next time, DZ out. Smash that like button.
Oh yeah, stick around for Blockchain Basement 115.
Stick around for the basement 115.